Welcome to the VIP MasterClass series. I'm Josh Wright, and today's episode is dedicated to Lucia. I looked up how to say that. I hope I got the pronunciation right. She said, "Hi Josh, I've been a member for some time, but this is my first question. I'm an adult, 32-year-old beginner, and I have been playing for two years now with a teacher. It's going very well so far. My question is to do with the control of my left hand. I currently play Mozart Sonata in C major, K545, second movement, and my teacher wants me to play the left hand with active fingers to produce a pearly sound. This is my loose translation of her words to English. I have a problem with achieving that consistently. I manage it in the beginning of the piece and when she draws my attention to it. But I feel like my left hand falls asleep when my attention is not on it 100%. It still plays the correct notes, but it's sluggish. Another piece that I'm currently practicing is the etude in this email. Both hands play the same notes, but the left hand is weaker, especially the fifth finger, so I do not achieve the same quality of tone with it like my right hand. Currently, I'm at 50% of the desired tempo, and I'm practicing it in different rhythms and with focus on hand movement, so to achieve the evenness of tone with all fingers. Do you have any tips or additional exercises for strengthening the control of my left hand, or better to say the control of my left hand fingers? Thanks for your help, Lucia." And I am not familiar at all with this piece she sent. I'll pull that up in a moment. It's called "The Howling of the Wind," and it's originally written in a different language. I'm not sure. But basically, it's going... Sorry. And then it's cut off a little, so I hope those notes are right. Okay, and everyone knows the Mozart. I don't know how many people are going to know that. I've never heard it before, and this is what I do for a living. So I wrote down a few notes that I'll follow along with. The first thing that I wrote down is bring your attention to it at all times. You said you can't do it unless your focus is on it 100%. That's actually completely normal. So I would go ahead and just focus on that for a few weeks. A lot of times just bringing your attention to something fixes it. For instance, I've been playing Rock 3 a lot lately. Next Friday, 9 days from now, is my performance, and each time I make a mistake in practice performances, my focus will actually be on that when I play the next time. So for instance, I totally messed this up, the ending. And it was like I was about to scream, because you get through 80 pages of material only to completely botch the ending. It was terrible. So what I did is I told myself, D, C, B flat. Okay? And that was D, C, B flat. Okay? And so forth. So bringing your attention to that is the first thing. And then last night I played another practice performance, and I went in thinking that is not going to screw me up, and it didn't, because I knew exactly what to focus on. So the lame answer to your question is give it time, give it attention, and it will become fixed. That gives you hope if it's not fixing right away. But I'm going to give you some other things to think about here. The second piece of advice is to record yourself. These seem like generic things, but I promise you these are the most important thing for helping you overcome. You will immediately know in a recording where things went wrong. So let's say you kind of said my mind somewhat falls asleep when I play, which is totally normal, like unless I'm focusing on the left hand. So what you can do is you can record yourself just like, kind of playing along, and you may not notice it when you're playing, like you said, but going back, you can say, oh, in bar 8 or 9 or 10 or wherever, that's where it starts to kind of fall asleep and get too sluggish. I need to, when I get to that place, have a little mental refresh. So having triggers in your mind when you play, whether it's a memory trigger, whether it's a lightness trigger. For me, I'm demonstrating a lot with Rock 3 today because it's on my mind, and then we'll get to the Mozart. But like for me, this trigger here is like a loose rotation of the hand. Oh, horrible. Sorry. If I go in tight, it ends up being like gripping versus really helps a lot. So just a little piece of advice there. So having triggers in your mind for when it starts to go wrong. Okay, here's where we get into the nitty-gritty stuff. If you're ever having trouble with left hand overlapping too much, I have 2 exercises for you. The first is very obvious. Just practice finger staccato. And also do your finger staccato in the right dynamic with a gorgeous right hand. Okay, and then if that was giving me troubles, I would, if there was too overlapped, I would do the same thing here. But you still want to shape it in the way that you would in the performance. Now, a lot of teachers, let me just warn you, I don't know if this is how your teacher is, but they get obsessed with the idea that the left hand has all this shape in it, and it's a wonderful idea, and I will straight up tell you some of the best performances have been when the performer has been incredibly focused on that left hand. For instance, Claire Huangzi, Huangci, her Chopin concerto at the National Chopin competition was like a revelation to me, because it was not only just so brilliantly and beautifully played, but like I could hear left hand lines and shaping of the left hand. However, I will tell you that a lot of teachers that are obsessed with left hand shape sometimes do so at the expense of clarity in the melody. And I can't tell you, 2 bigger contrasts were my Utah teacher, Susan Dohlmeyer, and my Michigan teacher, Logan Skelton. They're exactly the opposite in this regard. I mean, they're both brilliant teachers. I mean, and they're both brilliant in their own respects, but Susan's always like, make sure that melody comes out so clearly. And Logan was like, I want to hear every beautiful little contrapuntal line. I think they're both extremely valid points, but just make sure that when you're focusing on all of these left-hand shapes and touches, that you don't get going too aggressive or active dynamically. I want your left hand to be active physically, but not dynamically so active. Dynamically, not flat, but very subtle shaping. Okay? All right. So the second exercise that I would have you do is... Thank you so much for watching. I've listed 2 links in the description below. One of them is to download this full video that you've just watched the sample for. The other is to view the entire library of VIP MasterClass series videos. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have a great week. Good luck in your practice sessions.